Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you are all safe and well. Thanks for all the great messages so far going through this competition, and thank you and welcome to all the new subscribers. The more popular and the more subscribers we get on this channel, the more vlogs like this I can do for you whilst I'm actually out on the bank competing in events and just sharing some of these incredible experiences with you, because I know lots of people out there that aren't fortunate enough to get involved in them. Now, it is day 4 of the Mahons Festival, and it is just 30 minutes before the start of the match, and I'm all ready, I'm all set up. However, you're probably wondering why I'm still in the lodge, and that is because I've had a very different draw today. To cut a long story short, I could have drawn today, I could have drawn on Sligo Road, I could have drawn at Brown Meadow, and I could have drawn one of the pegs in front of the Killyhevlin Hotel, and you've probably already guessed, I have gone and done that. I have actually drawn a very good peg today. I've drawn peg 4 at the Killyhevlin, and as it turns out, that is the same peg that is right in front of our lodge. So this is the downstream end peg at the Killyhevlin, and this is also the peg that won this section yesterday with 11 kilo. So I've got all the creature comforts of the lodge. More importantly, Dad can actually watch me from the actual peg today, from the lodge where it's nice and warm. So it's turned out brilliantly for him, and it's turned out really well for me, because this peg did throw up some fish yesterday. Okay, and 11 kilo. If I could get 11 kilo today, that will do me a hell of a lot of good. All right, so just a quick update for you from yesterday. Basically, yesterday morning I was in 54th place after my 2 low section draws that I had on day 1 and 2. I was in 54th position, believe it or not. However, yesterday with my 10 kilo 600 and section win at Killardees, that 10 kilo actually boosted me up the leaderboard by 26 places, which I think gives you a prime example of how hard it actually fished yesterday. There were some terrible areas, and that's exactly what I need to happen now. So I'm actually now in 29th place. So what I need to do for these final 2 days is avoid those really hard areas. There were some horrendously difficult areas, and obviously draw good pegs and catch on them. It's all right drawing them, but you've still got to catch them, all right? And I've kind of done that today. I have done that today. I've drawn a section that was better than the other 2 sections where I could have gone. So that's good, and I've also drawn the peg that won the section. So I've given myself a massive advantage today by drawing this peg, and obviously I will, whatever I catch today, I will need to repeat that again tomorrow, but who knows. So I'm going to show you the peg, because this is very, very different from some of the other pegs that I've fished so far in this competition. So far, I did actually fish this peg, pleasure fish this peg on Sunday, so I have got some idea of what it's like, and I caught as well. I caught quite a few fish. So the good thing for me is that yes, it was one on this peg yesterday. Yes, it was one on the pole. I fished this peg on Sunday, and I had a great weight in 3 hours on the feeder. So that's obviously, it's telling me that there are fish there, but it's also telling me as well, it tells me that they can be caught on the feeder, which is good. So let me show you the peg. So there we go, straight out of the lodge. I'm all set up. Let's have a quick walk down to the peg. I'll see you. Dad's got the grandstand seat today. He's all right, and he can just nip in there when that rain comes, because it does look like it's going to rain. So measuring sticks there on the bank. Let's have a walk down to the peg. That's peg 3, peg 2, and then there's another angler at the other end. So, right, so what we've got here, obviously we're on the jetty, so we are sat out in the water, so that automatically means that we've got a lot of depth at our feet here, and it is flowing, which is the biggest issue here. Okay, so that's looking upstream. The river is actually flowing that way. Okay, so there's a couple of key differences today from previous days, because this is obviously more like, well, it is fishing a river as opposed to a still water. That's the downstream. All right, so the 2 key differences, well, there's 2 key differences today. The first one is, just look at the flow. You can see the net, just by the position of the net, it's already twisting with the flow, but look how it's kicking off to the right. All right, so that's showing you that there's flow there. But what you don't know is that just there, it's about 13 foot deep, just there. All right, so that gives you an idea of where we are, all right, and what it's like. So the 2 key differences today, It's going to be more about proper river style feeders today. All right, I'm going to be kicking off with that on my long line, and then I'm going to feed some ground bait on that 13-metre line as well. All right, so that is going to be that style feeder to kick off with. I think that's the one that we need, because obviously that's going to make sure that my bait is actually going to only be emptying on the bottom. When it's flowing like this, you don't want cage feeders with ground bait coming off and spreading downstream and stuff, ideally. So that's the style feeder that I'm going to be using. And then the other key change is, normally I would have my feeder rest there, and obviously my rod going that way. That's what I normally do on still waters. However, it's over here today, and that's because we always like to have our rod pointing downstream when we're fishing on rivers. So the river's going that way, all right, so the rod's on the downstream, and it's actually raised up, as you can see, and that's to get the line off the water. Now, when I'm fishing that 13-metre line, that's not going to make much difference, to be fair, because it's about 15 foot down there, so I'm still going to have a nice angle on the tip. But having the rod raised is going to help that longer line, because it'll get some line off the water, and just mean that 2.5 ounce tip that I've got in the rods I'm fishing with today, again, the distance, all right, 3.7 metre, 12 foot distance, 90 gram. That is the same on all 3 rods. Okay, 3 rods. The 2.5 ounce tip is just about right. So that is it. I've got selection feeders that I'll be going through. I've got an initial mix there that I'm going to be feeding at the start, and we've got that. And that is because this is all being filmed for one feature length film for the Catch Fishing channel next week on YouTube. So hopefully you're going to be looking forward to watching that, because that will include all the live match footage throughout the match. So there we go. They're the key differences for today. It's well, we don't know if I think we're going to get some rain, but it's all about the fishing today. That's it. I've got to capitalise on this draw. Obviously 10 kilo would be great, but every extra kilo is going to make a massive difference. You know, like I say, I only caught 10 kilos yesterday, but that knocked me up 26 places, so that's telling you how tight it is now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully having a good day's fishing, but more importantly just capitalising on this draw. So I'm going to just make 1 or 2 final adjustments now, get ready for the off, and fingers crossed there are going to be some fish out there waiting for me in numbers, and hopefully my approach is going to be right. Well, that didn't quite go to plan. It certainly wasn't what we expected. It's fished different from yesterday. Like I said, the biggest issue for me today was always going to be that yes, there was 11 kilos off this peg today. Yesterday, it was all on the pole, you know, and obviously I'm fishing the feeder. That is it. So it's a completely different way of fishing. However, the way that it's fished has been interesting in the sense that I haven't caught, I think I've had 1 fish on my longer line, so I've had a longer line at 35 metres going out over there towards that other bank, okay, over there. So I've had 1 hybrid out there, a couple of fast knocks, all right, and then I've had another line at 13 metres, which is the line that was caught on yesterday that he had most of the weight on, from what I hear. On that line I fed it positive with 5 balls of ground bait. There wasn't loads of feed in there, but there was some feed positive, you know. It's an end peg. We knew there was some fish here, and that's why I've put that line in. And to be quite honest, on that long line I think I've had one small hybrid, only 6 ounce. I've had a couple of bites on it, and then that 13 metre line, I haven't caught anything on it until halfway through, when I've had 5 1 ounce roach. And then with 10 minutes to go, I've gone back on that line just out of desperation. I put a full worm on, a full dendrobina, and just put the rod down and just sat. That's the first time I've really done that. That's with 10 minutes to go, and the rod's gone round. It's been in there about 4 minutes. It's gone round, and I've got a big hybrid. And then I've cast out again and got a perch, and then that's it. It's been at the end of the match. Okay. The reason why I make a big point of that is because the vast majority of the fish I've caught have been there, right in front of my keep net. I've caught literally off the rod end. I've had lots of perch, some nice chunky perch. I've had a hybrid there as well, and I've had some roach. So whilst I thought I got it right with those 2 lines, they haven't produced. All the fish have been caught short, and so that's really surprised me. But I mean, that's why I always cover the option on pegs like this, where you've got some deep water. I'm fishing off a jetty. Underneath this jetty, it's probably, I don't know what it is, 8 to 10 feet deep underneath this jetty. All right, these are features, you know, and that's why I fed that line. I kept putting a feeder full in on it, simply just lowering the feeder in and back winding the reel down to the bottom, and I fished it that way, and that's where I've had the vast majority of my weight. So I've ended up short of my target, but like I say, you know, you can only fish the section on the day. So as it turns out, I've ended up winning the section. I've won the section with 6 kilo 400, which, you know, I wanted a bigger weight, but I could have gone on forever like that. You know, if I'd had 10 kilo, I would have wanted 15. If I had 15, I would have wanted 20 because I'm chasing weight. So, but that's what it is. So I've had a decent day's fishing. It's been all right. So I weighed 6 kilo 400, and the other end peg has weighed 5 kilos for second in the section. So I've won my section again, which I'm obviously pleased about. But like I say, I did need more weight than that. So basically, the situation for me now is we're going into the final day of competition tomorrow. I'm again hoping that lots of the leaders above me have really struggled, and no doubt some of them will have, which means hopefully I've gained a little bit of ground on them. But you know, I'm looking for a miracle, to be honest, on the final day tomorrow. But at least I'm going back up the table and instead of going down. So yeah, it's been a really interesting day. Like I say, I ended up catching most of my fish really short, which I never expected, but that's why we put that line in. And so it's going to be very interesting going into tomorrow's final day. Now we are actually off to Cleanish tomorrow. Everybody in our rotation is at Cleanish tomorrow. There is a standout peg, or there has been a standout peg, and that's peg 5. So obviously I'm hoping to draw that peg, but I have just been told by Andy Leathers that there are 1 or 2 other pegs there where you can catch a few fish. So it'd be nice to finish the week on a high. So that's it really. I've almost got my gear packed away. We've got some just about to prepare some hot food. We're going to have a nice hot meal, just relax for the rest of the evening, and then we'll be ready to go again tomorrow for the final day. So thanks for all the great messages. I hope you've been enjoying this journey throughout this week, and don't forget, if you want to see more of these uploads from our future competitions, then hit subscribe so you don't miss out on them. This is a bit of an experimental channel, and so far it's going really well, and it seems to be producing the kind of things that you want to see, from basically live from the bank when we're out competing. So please give some support for the channel, give it a nice big thumbs up, hit subscribe so you don't miss future uploads, and I really look forward to updating you tomorrow right here on this Fishing Life channel with how we've gone on the final day.